and you're back on with Sister Chat on Pocono 96.7. We just wanted to give you guys the calling number again to hear your questions, feedback, and comments. That number is 570-420-9670. Again, call in at 570-420-9670.
And we got to go back to Dr. Castro on this international job thing, because there's a lot of people who don't realize that there are plenty of jobs in locations that they've never even thought about. So while you're scrapping for a job here in the U.S., there are other opportunities that you need to be aware of. So Dr. Castro, you want to fill our audience in on that?
Definitely. I want to say hello to Dr. Beverly Baker Kelly, who is a lawyer teaching common law in Oman, which I just met recently, and also to Dr. Vicki Hutchinson, who had a prestigious job and is now retired with the U.S. Department of State, and she traveled all around the world building embassies. So for those women who are pioneers, congratulations to you. But yes, there are different jobs, because here in the United States, the markets are very saturated, and your knowledge base is worth so much, especially because we have an American degree, and we should be looking at looking for jobs overseas and understanding the culture within the culture overseas. But there's so much of opportunities there. You just have to make sure that you connect with someone like myself, who has traveled all over the world and have different types of connections in order to open those doors of those connections. Especially in the Middle East, there's a shortage of HR specialists. So if you have an HR company, they would give you a contract to hire and train the people working for these different type of industries. In academia, there's a huge shortage, also in the Middle East as well as in Europe, because the baby boomers are retiring. And for Dr. Hutchinson, one example that I could give, after she has retired, being in the U.S. Department of State, she's going to go into a teaching job to teach her knowledge base of building embassies across the United States. And that's another way, if you're in your 60s, it's not the end of the world. Go into becoming an adjunct, go into becoming a professor. It's very lucrative if you know which markets you want to go into teaching.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
the radio market over there.
yeah, exactly. You know, we're open to the radio market over there as well. So.
I would love to do something like that as the radio market. My first degree was being a disc jockey, and I studied at WMBS back in New York City back in 1975. And my mother's listening. I think I have the year correctly. And my first passion was to become a broadcaster, the same thing that you're doing, but my life took me into a different path because of necessity and because of the struggle of being a woman. And my mother was a single mom trying to raise my brother and myself, and I decided to go into a different route. And that's one of the things that we would like to do, that I would like to do personally, and this is something that I will talk after the show to see whether we could get Sister Chat not only away from the United States of America, but to the Middle East and Europe. But I think that
we're ready. But
I think that we should do it in a format that they could see the people behind the mics in the radio show. Maybe we could do a live stream at YouTube, and there's other ways that we can do that.
Absolutely.
But the thing is that we have to develop a good business plan and go into syndication, and that's something that I would like to do with this radio show. If God permits.
Oh, we're ready. Okay, that's why you came into our lives. We needed someone who could guide us and direct us and take us there. So we're open and we're ready.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, I think that this is just an amazing show, and I have to say, one of the questions that I have is, what would you suggest for a single mom? Maybe fresh out of a marriage, or struggling at home. I know that there are programs out there. Where do they go? What do they look for to get themselves out of the hole that they may have put themselves in?
Well, first, they have to be emotionally stable, because, I know what it is to, be struggling as a single mom myself at times, because I'm traveling in different parts of the world. And I think that the first thing, they need to have an emotional mentor to be there, because when we're talking about women, going through different types of stress or going into a divorce after so many years of being married, one thing that I teach my students overseas is that they have to have 2 separate bank accounts, especially when it comes to Muslim banking. if the man is married to you, but if he has children with another woman, they are entitled to that inheritance. So even for American women, I always tell, even if you're married, have your own bank account, establish your own credit, because that's one of the things. Once you go into a divorce, you don't have your own credit. So that's number one. If you are a single mother, or if you are a woman still in a marriage and the marriage isn't going correctly, start doing your own credit, start doing your own bank accounts in order for that to empower you. And then you would have to think about, how am I good? What are my good skills? And then looking at those skills that you have, putting into education and educating yourself, because education is key. Without education, there's little resources that you could do, but education is empowerment. So my advice is for them to get educated. If you could get, Pell Grant or TAP Grant, or, any grant that could help you pay for your college degree, take advantage of that. Especially if you're in a low income family range, take advantage of all the government programs. That's why they are there. Do not be ashamed of taking advantage of those programs.
That's right.
Empower yourself.
Absolutely, and I so
And
agree.
also, I think some of the employment agencies, if you are looking for a job and don't have the skills, they do provide training. I know here in the do you know anything about that, Lucille?
I know, especially CareerLink on 611 in Tannersville. I know they work extensively. They have a monthly calendar of training sessions.
Don't they
So-
also, Lucille, have like a closet up there for women entering
Yes,
the
they do.
job market?
Yes,
Like,
they
so
do.
if you don't feel that you're
Dress for success.
Dress for
yes,
success,
dress
yes.
for success, they
Yes.
they hit all the different
Yes,
aspects
they do.
of looking for a job
Mhm.
as a person. It's a great resource that at least you can give to somebody
A
to
start.
head to start with.
Right.
Telling people to go out and do all this stuff is great, but I think in our area especially, people don't know where to go. Like,
Right,
there's no
right.
one-stop shop, but that's
Right.
a great place to start.
Exactly.
To get
And
it
also, Women's Resources has what's the little shop down on Ann
Echo.
Street?
One Ann
Echo.
Street, Echo.
Yes.
I know that if you're struggling and you need an outfit to go and
For an interview.
for an interview or whatever, that you can actually go there. They will provide you with help. So that is a very important resource to remember, that we do have Women's Resources.
And let me just say that as a single mother, one of the things that I am very glad that I did was to educate myself and begin the process of being able to stand on my own 2 feet. None of my relationships worked out, so there wasn't a Prince Charming who took care of everything. So ultimately, it kept falling back on me, which meant I had to be strong enough to handle it, and I'm redoing some things now and taking some different courses, but it is my education that I stand on, and it is has been my strength. So on that note, we're getting ready to take another break. This is Sister Chat. You're listening to 96.7. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You come back too.